Welcome back to Profi Plays. I'm Profi, and we are here to celebrate Solo RPG Day. That is October 1st. I honestly have no idea where I heard about this. Like no clue at all. Um, I don't know, but it was on my calendar. That's it. That's it. I'm guessing it was probably Wallona's Cave. I'm guessing that they're probably the one that they seem most likely to be where I heard about this, but I don't know, it might be somebody else. I don't know. But in any case, what we are doing today is we're going to pick up a little bit with Wilbur Orla and the like. So that this campaign is one that I'm kind of setting a little bit on the back burner as I'm working on another project right now. But that project is one where I want it to be okay. I'll just lay it out there. I am playing a different game and recording it. But what I want to do is complete an entire storyline and then start posting. Because right now I'm kind of in the midst of the semester, and that means that my schedule gets a little bit wonky, so it becomes difficult to really guarantee that I'm going to be able to record as much as I need to keep up with, say, creating a new episode every week. So instead, what I'm doing is recording as much as I can, sometimes multiple episodes a week or whatever. Okay, so far I only have one episode recorded. Right. But I'm planning to maybe do multiple episodes in a week, so that then once everything's done, I can have a whole series lined up where you'll have a complete storyline, a campaign played out over like 9 sessions, that kind of thing. Then you'll know that those will be dropping every week. But I am not at all ready to do that. So instead, what I am ready to do is to get back into doing a little bit more with Wilbur Orla for just another session. So just a reminder of what we were doing. In part, this is for me. We are doing a scout mission using the solo rules from Zozer Games. This is really designed for Traveler, but Cepheus Universal also comes from Zozer Games. Uh, it's basically compatible. You have to do a little bit of work with getting some things to align, but it works reasonably well. Right. Now, before I get into things, there is one thing that I do want to say right now, because it is something I've complained about a lot. In specifically in this particular, I don't want to say storyline because there's not really a real narrative here. We're just kind of playing through the mechanics of it. But nonetheless, there's something I've complained about a lot, and that is that the solo supplement from Zozer Games presents you with a table that allows you to classify planets, but then there are gaps in that table. So some planets are not classifiable. This is kind of an issue, right? Especially like because like it wouldn't be an issue in itself, like, okay, this is just a weird planet. Except that when you are exploring a planet, you have to roll on tables inside the supplement. And those tables are based on planet type. Right? So that's an issue. But then I realized there's a really simple solution, and that is that there is also a set of tables in Cepheus Universal where you roll on those and it tells you the planet type, and then tells you, once you know the type of planet, how to roll for the specific uh, codes for like size and how much water coverage you have and that kind of stuff, atmosphere and the like. Right. So all I really have to do is say, all right, this is one of those cases where the solo supplement was designed for one system. I'm using a different system. I don't know. Maybe Traveler would avoid these gaps. I don't know. But I'm using a different system. But guess what? That system actually has an alternative thing that would align perfectly with this. So I just need to use that. Okay. So that's not going to be relevant in this session, but it will be relevant going forward as it's useful to be able to do that, I would think. All right, so let's go ahead and do this thing. So we are in the subsector of Mucoria, which is, as far as we know, uninhabited. We are in the second system that we have decided to explore there, sector 303. What we know about Sector 303 is that the main world has the great benefit of having a breathable atmosphere. That is really the big thing, right? So we are here on 303 beta, which is the main world. It says B68, right? So what that means, a B, it's a pretty big world, so gravity is a little bit on the heavy side. I want to say it's something like 1.2, 1.3 times Earth gravity, right? So it's a little bit heavy. 6 would be that we have an untainted standard atmosphere. So it is breathable for us, which is fantastic. fantastic. Right? And then 8 indicates that it's about 80% water covered. So this is, in many ways, a very Earth-like planet. It's just bigger, is really the big difference. All right. So what we've done so far, we have explored one of the survey targets that we generated. So that one survey target was a mineral deposit of unusual composition in a savanna. So we explored that. The next thing we need to go and explore here, well, I can obviously choose how much I want to explore, but one of the other features here says it's a linear feature vegetation. It's warm and dry in terms of the, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Climate. There we go. That's the word, climate. Yeah, I think I need sleep. In any case, right, so we've got warm and dry vegetation, linear feature. That's the next thing we're going to go and explore. So let's go ahead and uh, get involved with the system. So this is one of those things, if you've watched my recent videos on the mental triangle, I talk about system, story, and immersion. With this series, I'm going very heavy on playing with the systems and seeing how the systems work. So a lot of mental space spent on system. It's fine, and it's something that I enjoy doing. All right, so let's do it. So we have here our target. We know it is a linear feature. It is, wait, where's that? Linear feature, there it is, vegetation. Yeah. So what I'm imagining here is that it's like this line of trees or something like that. Trees, shrubbery. So I'm imagining some kind of, it's a warm and dry forest. So it's a dry forest is what I'm really imagining here. Okay. So as we go to explore it, the first thing we need to do is, well, the starship is going to have to move from where we were, that is the mineral deposits in the savannah, to this area of, it's not really jungle because it's too dry for that, but this forest area. So let's go ahead and roll for that. So can we land right close to the target? Four indicates we have to travel 4 kilometers to get there. Good news, 4 kilometers isn't that far. This is something we can do on foot, probably in a couple hours, right? So it's not going to take days upon days for us to get there, right? So that's all right. So now the big question is, how long is it going to take for us to survey this particular target? So 3, that's a 2 day. So it's going to be a 2 day survey is the plan, if all goes well. So we send out our crew. I think that actually like everybody's going to go along for this. Now that is somewhat risky because after all, anybody who goes along has the risk of possibly dying if that's the problem that shows up. Right, so we are traveling, we travel across to this tree line. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. Sure. Right, so we're traveling across this tree line where we want to see what's there, we want to see if there's anything potentially useful, if this is something that's noteworthy, that might potentially be of use to the scouts when we get back home. They might possibly pay us some money for saying, yes, thank you for finding this. Right, so let's go ahead and roll. As we do this, we are going to run across some kind of problem. What is that problem? It's problem number 56. Problem number 56 is difficult zero-G or hostile atmospheric conditions must be survived. This may not be applicable. If so, re-roll. Yeah, this is not at all applicable. We have already established this is a perfectly fine um, planet. So yeah, not applicable. We re-roll. Okay, 41 instead. So 41 computer problems whilst setting up or when processing survey data. So we need to roll a computer roll. And I'm pretty sure that computer is one of those that is actually a, let's, I did put together a list here. All right. Yep, computer roll is one that does actually transfer over. So let's see if any of our people have computer as a skill. I don't think anybody does, which is not fantastic for our crew. All right, so let's look. Wilbur, I don't. Does he have computer skills? Even actually, he does. Okay, so Wilbur has computer one, right? So we're setting up all of our survey equipment, and there's some issues, like some of the pieces aren't talking to each other the way they're supposed to. Ah, of course. Why did I not remember? Because I've not played recently. That's why you didn't remember, Professor. That is, William, our engineer, does have a fairly high computer skill. He has computer 3. That's wonderful because in order to resolve this, we need to roll an 8 or higher total. Right, so this should be relatively routine for William. We're just trying to figure out how to get these pieces to talk to each other. This is not the kind of like super difficult engineering feat that is necessary, right? And oh my goodness, he rolls a 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. And last I checked, 6 is not 8. It's in fact less than 8. So this indicates a skill roll failure indicates the survey was impeded or held up. So it's actually going to take us longer than we expected. So it was originally due to take 2 days. We hit this wall. It's going to be very difficult for him to actually get these pieces to talk to each other. There's maybe we forgot something back in the ship or what. He really can't figure out what the problem is. But it's going to take 3 days, right, for us to actually complete the survey here because of this equipment issue, which at the same time we were not very good at solving. All right, so let's see if we gain any survey points from this. So every survey once begun will produce survey data and record this as survey points. These are added to any survey points already gained. And we already got one survey point from mineral deposits. They were apparently not that useful to us, right? But right here, we roll 1d6 minus 2 because we failed the survey problem. 5. Oh, okay. Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. So despite our problems, we did still manage to get 3 survey points out of this. So that's something, I guess. Right. All right. So well, I think that's good. It's good, right? So we do discover that there are some, like, I'm guessing mostly flora here, maybe some fauna that are useful or interesting, perhaps have some potential for, genetic research, these kinds of things, right? So the scouts may be interested in sending somebody here, right, to do further study. Now we are just the survey team. We are not here, right, to do this kind of detailed scientific work. We're just trying to find out what's here. Is it useful or is it not? Right? So 3 survey points, not awesome, but at the same time, not terrible, especially given that we kind of had some dodgy data gathering that went on there, I think. All right, so next up then, let's do that last one on this planet. Right, so this is a weather event. It says weather, jungle, humidity. Right, so all right, well, I guess we're going to head that direction. So let's find out how far that is from us. So it's going to be 3 kilometers from wherever we are able to land. So we take off, we land again. This is one of those things where I generally am kind of abstracting away from this intra-planetary travel, just because we take off, we set down. It's probably not going to take horrifically long for that to happen. So I'm just going to hand wave that. All right. But we will take some time then to survey this weather pattern that's in this area, in this jungle. I'm going to say it's something unusual, perhaps something like ion storms. Classic, classic. We love our ion storms, don't we? You can tell I've watched Star Trek. One, and it won't take very long. It's only supposed to take 12 hours, right, for us to get good readings of these ion storms. Now, we do have to walk a bit to get things set up, right, but not a big deal. We can get there, and it won't be a huge issue, we hope. Okay, so 12 hours. Of course, as we are walking, or perhaps when we arrive there, there's some problem that occurs. What is that problem? It's problem number 34. Problem number 34 is difficult traveling conditions in the vehicle used by scouts. So we need to either use drive or fly. The problem is that we're walking. So I don't know that I mean, that would add time. Certainly, let's say that's what it does. It adds time, so it's going to add an additional day. But it is not going to require any kind of skill roll, I don't think. I mean, oh, it has to require skill roll, right? So, these difficult terrain conditions. I mean, maybe what we should do is roll for like endurance or something like that, maybe. That makes sense. And it makes sense to me as well that we should look at whoever has the worst endurance. That's going to determine how much of a delay we have. So when I look at endurance, both Wilbur and William are very weak in endurance. They both have endurance 4, which would be a -1 modifier on this. So yeah, let's go ahead and just So, okay, -1. 8 minus 1 is not 8. So that one failed as well, right? So that means it's going to add even more time, I guess. Right? Oh no, no, no. Okay, never mind. That means it's going to add time. Okay, because failed the roll means you add time. All right. So I had kind of done one thing to try to deal with the fact that this was kind of a weird case, but it turns out the failed roll would explain that, right? So it's difficult traveling conditions, and then we just don't deal with it very well. That's why it takes so long. So it takes us a whole day, right, to get there to gather the information about this weather pattern, and then to gather our survey, which actually returns nothing. This actually it's just a regular thunderstorm, the kind of thunderstorm you see on many planets. So we check that one, and it is SP0. So that is probably not the best as far as that goes. All right, so the next thing we need to do is decide if we're going to go to one of these other planets. Now, when I look at the other planets in the system, this is all, you obviously cannot read this on your computer screen, but in this system, there's the main world we're on now. There's also a small desert world. It's a little bit closer to the sun than we are. There are a few gas giants, which we can't really like sit down and explore those. There is a hellhole. There are a couple hellholes actually. The two hellholes, uh, they have an atmosphere type A. A would be an exotic atmosphere, which means you have to have, I believe, a vac suit in order to survive on that. Now, we are trying to avoid having to use vac suits because we only have one character that has a vac suit, and it's really dangerous to send them out by themselves because if they die, we just lost our navigator. So we don't want that to happen. Right, so I think we're going to avoid those planets for now. We also have a number of planets that simply don't have any atmosphere at all. Uh, Naturally, if it's a vacuum, you would need a vac suit. So that is not going to work. So I do want to check this desert planet. The desert planet does seem to have an atmosphere. I think that if I remember the code correctly, it is thin and tainted, but I will double check that because if it is not thin and tainted, I mean, even if it is thin and tainted, I think we're okay because I'm pretty sure we do have enough, uh, like survival masks and the like. I think is what we'll need for that. Oh no, it's even better. Right. So 5 is thin, not tainted. Well, that's great. So we can just go there. All right. Okay. This is perfectly fine. All right. So now we're going to do a little bit of traveling. Uh, this is interplanetary travel within the system, right? So in the inner system, what I need to do here, I need to roll a d6. That'll tell me the distance that it takes for me to get there. We're in the inner system. This is fairly close, actually. It's I can get there in about 5 hours. And so 5 hours, we pop from the main world over to this desert world. And once we get to that desert world, do a we're going to look for survey targets. Now, in order to do this, it's going to take a certain amount of time, 5 hours, right? So we took 10 hours. I think add sleeping in this is another day. We were spending just traveling here and doing our initial search for. So these are all alpha. Yeah, we get 3 targets that we can look at. So on this desert world, what is there? Well, let's look. First, 52. 52 is an anomaly from orbit. Oh, well, that's fun. It's either in orbit or from orbit. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that there's apparently a subtable. Anomaly, space. So yeah, obviously this would be space. All right, let's see what we find. 2d6 roll. 8. An abandoned. Oh, wait. Okay. No way! Okay, okay. I need to actually read this out, don't I? So it's abandoned alien drone or probe. So an abandoned. Although abandoned is the default, it says to roll a d6. If it's 5 or 6, it's not abandoned. It is in fact manned. It's a 5. So actually, it's not abandoned. I need to erase that word. It is a manned alien probe drone in orbit. That's awesome. Because anomalies, when you investigate those, they give you extra SP. Here we have intelligent life, which is awesome. Okay. Anyway, so that was a good roll. Let's roll again. The next thing, 62. 62 animal life fauna. I mean, fauna is animal life, right? Okay. In any case, so I get to roll this one. Three, microfauna. Okay, so it's like microscopic. So I don't know for sure how we identify that on our sensors from orbit, but we do. We do. We identify that there is some kind of, it's probably some kind of a single cell, like a slime or something like that, that we can identify, right? So very plant-like, but we think it may have some unusual properties and be worth investigating. And then finally, 46 there, 46 is another anomaly on the surface this time. Wow. Well, this is great. Now, this is going to be a very hot world that we're going to be on just because it's fairly close to the sun. There's very little water, if any. Okay, so let's find out what is the surface anomaly. 2d6, it's a 7. A bunker. So this is all very interesting because here's the thing. We thought that um, this subsector was uninhabited. And what we just found is this desert world. On it, there's a bunker, very clearly something that was, well, not necessarily man-made, at least Sophont made. Uh, and then we also have in orbit a manned, right, alien space probe or drone or something like. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a manned drone. That'd be kind of weird. But yeah, it is. Like there are effectively people here, although not human beings, they're aliens here, which is an interesting twist. But I think I'm going to end it there. Right, so next time I happen to get around to playing some more of Wilbur Orla, we'll have to see what these aliens are doing here. I kind of look forward to that. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. And this is Prof. E, signing off.